This is another video about initialize.php. I found out after testing the code which you saw in the previous video about initialize.php, I found out that it doesn't work. There were some problems. So I went ahead and fixed them. One of the fixes which I made was to add some content to config.php, and the previous video talks about that one. Basically, in config.php, I chose to define a constant called proj_root, which stands for project root. Now, in this file, I moved the inclusion of config.php to the top of the file because the other constants, some of them depend on the definition for proj_root. So I had to load config.php first. Also, config.php is the only script in this file which is included without me using the full path to the script. And for that reason, I will always have to maintain config.php and initialize.php in the same directory. Okay, so let me scroll down here to see what else we have. libpath. I made some changes to that. Mainly, I'm using the constant proj_root instead of what I had before, which was site_root. And this line here was causing errors because I have my directory structure set up differently from the course material. So it wasn't actually locating that includes directory. The other thing is with the concept of site_root as opposed to proj_root. Site_root was supposed to correlate to the web root of the Apache server. And there's a whole mess with regards to that because that would cause problems since for my project, when that project is running in the development environment, the web root is really not set for the project. It's set for me to be able to load all my development projects. So it's not a good thing to rely on to base all my paths on it. So I decided that proj_root should be defined in the configuration file for the project, and it should be explicitly specified for each installation. Just like the username and password and database name are explicitly specified. All right, so let's go down here. And basically the rest of the file hasn't changed. Also, I had to make a change to, I think it was the function called, here, let me go show, okay, let's go out here. Functions.php. All right, let's go to the bottom. Over here where I define include layout template, I had to change this to proj_root instead of site_root. And I think there may have been some other error somewhere. But I fixed it. I think this word was missing. Anyways, let's exit out of this. Go back to initialize so I can talk about that some more. I'm going to read what I wrote down here and hopefully it'll make some sense. Although we can't use proj_root constant directly for web paths such as the ones for style sheets, we can use proj_root in a function definition where that function produces the header for our page layout. And that's what I showed you in the functions.php, that function. And that will not remove the awkward ... relative path, but at least it separates that concern and places that concern in the layout files in the layout directory. Yeah, the layout directory, I'm not sure if I made a video about that, but basically all the HTML that goes at the top of every page is there, and also the content at the bottom of the page, which relates to the footer, is also in the layouts directory. I think I may have made a video about that already. I also mentioned that the config.php and initialize.php must be in the same directory. And I even made a complete video about the fact that config.php must define the constant proj_root, which is used in initialize.php. That's it for this video.